heartbreaking, it's gut-wrenching. You lose family, you lose friends, you lose the person that you loved and trusted the most in the world. And eventually, of course, it settles down and you become friends. But yes, that separating part is always painful, extremely painful.
Be honest. Was it at all your decision in it?
I would have found it very, very difficult to walk away and to say, this is it. I thought I would die. And I've been through clinical depression where I have wanted to die.
Happy Mother's Day, Mama. You're the best mom in the whole world, and I'm super lucky to have you. Plus, you're really squishy, and I will never stop stealing your side of the bed, and I will never stop turning off the Mindy Project. And I love you so much. Happy Mother's Day.
Oh my God, no! I had deep-rooted abandonment issues from my childhood. And I think that it did carry into my adulthood. It did carry into my relationships with men in particular. Both Imran and I, we always knew that we were going to do our best when it came to her. And we were on the same page about that. So be it that she always had access to both parents, she spends equal amount of time with both her parents, with both families in fact. She's very, very close to both sides of the family.
We watched Avantika's journey, especially with her mental health issues, because mental health journey is a very lonely journey. You know, you may have the support of very many people, but at the end of it all, it's a journey that you have to virtually.
My ex-mother-in-law, I will give her a lot of credit because she's a therapist herself. I just came home one day and I was bawling and I was like, I feel hopeless and I feel like I'm never going to get better and this nothing is worth it and I'm not worth it. And she was sitting with me. And in under 2 minutes, she looked at me and she said, Avantika, this is clinical depression. Because for a few days, my mind had broken to the point of having suicidal thoughts and things like that.
Spoke about your mum-in-law. Has your equation with her changed in any form or has it remained the same?
Unfortunately, it's not the same. It can't be.
Women find it more difficult to fall in love or move on after a broken relationship.
I do think it is a little difficult for them to be accepting of maybe somebody else in either parent's life. Till today, sometimes we joke and I'll be like, baby, now should I get a boyfriend? And she'll be like, what, really? Why? The thing is, I doubt I'll get married again. That I'm telling you.
Sometimes in life, you need to go through different challenges to find yourself, to find your own self-worth. I think the person sitting next to me is an amazing mother, a very, very, very wonderful daughter, and you will know why I say that, and just an amazing human being. And life's challenges couldn't bring her down, and why should it? Avantika, thank you for joining us on this episode of Wildglow Korean Skincare presents Dear Maa, only on Nayandeep. Thank you so much for doing this, genuinely.
Thank you so much for having me and for all your kind words. They mean more than you know, and yeah, I'm excited.
You know, I have to tell you before we begin, I messaged her after I saw your last episode with Janice, right? I couldn't muster up the courage to come to you, although we have connections. This is the first time we are meeting, but Alpa is somebody who I love, who is like my mother in Bombay, and she knows it. Right. I've spoken to her so much about you, and I already feel that I know you so well because of everything that, you know, I've heard about you, and it's always been good and great, you know. I want to say that today, do you feel a different sense of being after you've gone through all of this? Do you feel a different sense of self-worth?
I feel like an entirely different person.
Which is a great thing.
Yeah, I think people that knew me intimately 6 years ago and possibly don't know me today would be very shocked and surprised to see who I am today. But I think this is who I was always supposed to be. And it's only when you go through your darkest periods. Yes. And growth and evolution and learning comes from that, from being in the midst of heartbreak and despair and, you know, all those things. Yes. So yeah, I think today I feel much more like myself, much more authentic version of who I am. I also think that I'm a much wiser, maybe more compassionate. Life has humbled me. My experiences have humbled me, and and it's
But
filled me
in
with
what
gratitude.
way do you feel like you're humble?
I think
you've
that-
always been humble only.
No, I think in my early years of my life, possibly not. I do think that maybe not, I don't think I was ever an obnoxious human being or anything like that. But I think I did carry with me maybe an ego to some degree, or even a lot of angst and anger and general general upset that I was carrying with me through most of my life that I wasn't even aware, because it happened so subconsciously. Maybe because of my own childhood experiences and things like that. And you carry that through your life. So I feel like now is the most evolved version of me that has existed.
Yeah. Would you also give credit to your daughter for this version?
Absolutely. There has been no greater driving force in my life than to be my best version for her sake. Because I want her tomorrow, as far as possible, for her to not need a therapist in her 30s. And for me not to be responsible for her needing a therapist. So for that reason, I think I had to go through all the therapy myself.
But before coming to the therapy, I have a small surprise for you, which we were planning to play on the tab, but me being me, I don't know how to do things. So I'm pretty sure that nobody could have done this, but I think I've managed it, so I will give credit to myself. But before that, let me play this.
Happy Mother's Day, Mama. You're the best mom in the whole world, and I'm super lucky to have you. Plus, you're really squishy, and I will never stop stealing your side of the bed, and I will never stop turning off the Mindy project. And I love you so much. Happy Mother's Day.
Oh my God, no! That is, wow. I cannot believe this. To get this from my kid, oh my God. Oh my God, thank you so much. You guys will make me teary-eyed, but thank you. That's all the validation that I need in this.
That's all the validation I think mothers need, right? Like, I am a man written by a woman, which is my mother. Okay, and many women actually, my grandmother, my sister, I have a cousin sister whose birthday is today. I think I'm a man written by so many people, and I'm constantly being written by other friends. People who are written by women are always kinder and more empathetic. Your daughter is somebody who's being written by so many women around her. Not negating the fact that there are also amazing, kind men around her, but the women around her actually make her who she is, and she's such a strong, beautiful girl. Does it surprise you sometimes, the kind of maturity that she has?
Yes. Oh my God, she surprises me every day. And it's funny because she's as much my support and a shoulder for me to cry on, or somebody that is very much in my corner as much as I am for her. So I'm so grateful every day, every day, every day. I have only gratitude. And seeing how she's turning out is just, I know that this is how the universe is giving back to me, is to see her blossom and thrive. And today I see a kid who's so kind and so compassionate, so mature, so loving. So yeah, I'm grateful, and let me be a little.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. This is that. Rather than me saying it out to you, I think what better than having your kids say how much they love you. And you know, when you do that, I also have to do it to your mother for raising you the way you have grown up to be. To be very honest, like, you also have had a very troubled childhood when it came to your parents and your parents' relationship. They separated when you were 9?
9 years, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it had been problematic for a few years before that, any which way, I think.
I want to understand, like, as a child, did you grow up with any kind of emotional damage which you couldn't speak about because of that?
Yeah, yes, very much so. I think that I had deep-rooted abandonment issues from my childhood, and I think that it did carry into my adulthood. It did carry into my relationships with men in particular. I do think that somewhere in my marriage, it did play a part in whatever damage we may have done to each other.
In what way?
The thing is, so for me, the wound is like, it's a childhood wound, it's the father wound, even I have been raised primarily by my mother, my brother and I, and also been very lucky to have been surrounded by very fierce, strong, resilient women.
Yes.
But as a little girl, I think every little girl loves to have a daddy that dotes on her. So I think that from the time that I was a child, that felt a little bit lacking and missing in my life. I do want to say here, though, that I have a very good relationship with my dad today.
Yes, you do.
And I love him very much. And I know that he was very young and going through his own things at that time. And to be fair, my parents didn't have the resources that we have today. Nobody spoke of therapy for them, or nobody, in any way. It was just the way the conversation is today around separation and divorce and what you may be going through at that time. So that being said, I think that a lot of repair has happened in that relationship. And I love him deeply, and I'm glad that he's my dad. But at that time in my life, I did feel a sense of abandonment. And I think then what you do is, because you're seeking that love or you're seeking that validation because you don't have it from a father, then you're going to constantly seek it in any relationship that you have in any man following that. And I think that, I do think that a romantic relationship does carry that burden. You do tend to take those issues and kind of bring them into your romantic relationship or your marriage or whatever it may be for different people. And I think I was very young when I met my ex-husband. I was only 20 years old. And we kind of grew up together in that sense. So I do think that he did have to kind of carry a lot of the abandonment issues that I possibly had with my dad, and probably seeking more validation from him than he needed to give a partner. Not having that sense of self or being able to give myself that kind of love and, protection or all.
But when did you realize that this is possibly boiling down to your own relationships with?
It didn't come very late. I think that I was possibly in my late 20s, early 30s, with motherhood, a lot of these realities, a lot of your own childhood comes back up. You have to face a lot of yourself when motherhood happens. So I do think the realization started coming, but of course, we had been together for so many years and we were both so young that I think that the damage that you do to each other, it happens in almost every relationship. It's not that this is unique in that sense. Sometimes I think you spend too long doing the damage and you don't have enough time to do the repair. But I think the realization started coming after, really, truly, in a way that I couldn't escape it, maybe possibly after I became a mother, which was in my early 30s. I was like 32 when Imara was born. So but at least going through my own childhood, what it did was it gave me kind of like a roadmap to be like what not to do while going through the same thing, or how to kind of make it as easy as I possibly can for my child. It can never be pain-free. It's not that she is ever going to escape from it unhurt or unharmed. But what can I do to really minimize that,
You said something wonderful, that our parents didn't have the means or the resources back then, and the conversation and the awareness, right? Did you ever, because you're a child, you wouldn't know what the resources could be at that point. Today you have a very good relationship, touch wood, with your father as well. But growing up, when your mother was primarily the caregiver, did you ever hold any sense of resentment towards your father when you were?
I mean, years. He talked to that fact. Very much anger, resentment. I spent a lot of time not wanting to talk to him, not wanting to have a relationship with him. Through my teens in particular, when you're an angsty teenager, anyway you're angsty, and anyway the whole world is bothering you. So this was like, I definitely went through a long period in my life where I was very angry with my father. And but I think as the beauty of aging and getting older is that you start seeing your own parents as human beings and not as some, superhero version or whatever you may have imagined as a child, that you wanted them to be flawless. and you wanted them to be 100%, and you start viewing them as human. And I think that's what eventually happened. But it took a long time. It actually got to a point where I think I have spoken about this briefly, about being clinically depressed and having anxiety disorder. That's how those things manifest, you know. So I think I had anxiety disorder without being aware that I had anxiety disorder pretty much possibly through my entire teenage years and early adulthood. I only realized I have anxiety disorder close to my 30s. And then eventually, of course, the clinical depression came. And that is when I think I realized truly that I have to heal, I have to let go, I have to forgive, and I have to have compassion. And I think that was really the turning point for me, even in my own mind when it came to a relationship with my own father. Also, again, having my own child, because it was very important for me to heal my own relationship with my parents so that I don't take that and kind of carry it forward with my own child.
It would be emotional damage for her as well.
Yeah, and also I wanted to have a very close, intimate relationship with her grandparents, and I like a family unit. I understand the value of it. In the past 6 years of my life, my family has held me together, all of them. So, yeah, I think that it was very damaging when I was young. And I do think I made a lot of decisions out of anger and maybe some silly mistakes.
Do you regret any of that?
Yes. Some of it I do. Some of the hurt I may have caused people that I love. I became a teenager, very short-tempered, kind of ready to fight kind of teenager and early adult. So I do think that I've done things that have been hurtful to the people that I love, and I do regret that. But I also know that if I hadn't done those things, there would not be the learning and the growth
And the experience.
and the understanding that I have today. So you can't have one without the other, unfortunately, you know. So regret is there, but yet at the same time, I know in order to be who I am today, every single thing had to happen the way it happened. So,
But when you say that you had a solid backing in the form of, you know, it's a huge privilege to have your family around when you're going through any kind of shit in life. Any celebration becomes better with family. Any kind of sorrow becomes a little lesser with family around, right? I have another surprise for you because, of course,
oh my
what's life without a few surprises?
oh my God, you're
Which
going
is
to
why I
get me
was
to
like-
cry, are you? Is that the plan?
Now it is so cute. You will understand why. Because I janbujke didn't edit it and make it like a proper thing. I love imperfections because the emotions are always in the imperfections. I'm going to put it as it is. This is somebody who's the closest to you. Wait, I will just put my data off so that we can.
Oh my God. Aww.
A very happy Mother's Day to all the mothers watching this show and to the ones not watching it as well. Though I personally feel every day is a Mother's Day because once a mother, always a mother. It's also a journey that is it's a tough journey in parts. It's also a very fulfilling journey in parts. So therefore, I think once you're a mother, your life just takes a 360-degree turn. There are physical changes, there are emotional changes, so one always has to deal with them. But I think most of the mothers do a very good job of dealing with them. And I have closely watched Avantika's journey, especially with her mental health issues, because mental health journey is a very lonely journey. You know, you may have the support of very many people, but at the end of it all, it's a journey that you have to virtually go through solo. So I think she did a very good job with that. She fought with her issues. She had her highs, her lows. She cried, she laughed, she did everything that it takes. She sought help. Professional help to deal with it. And she did a very good job of it. So very proud of you, Avantika.
Oh.
So that's your mum.
Yes.
And let me tell you, that's not all. I love her because she has taken time and she's recorded 1 minute.
That's how she is.
And I have to tell you, she's also the reason why I could get that audio note
From my
for
daughter.
you.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think we have planned it so much. Every day we were planning a date. I was only telling her that tomorrow we might do it in Bandra. Why don't you come and just give her a surprise? And we had planned almost everything when we were doing it in Bandra.
Right.
So a lot of people will understand that this we've been planning since Mother's Day.
Yes.
But regardless, it's beautiful. The next part. Your mom is amazing.
Well, Avantika has been very good at whatever she chooses to do. From ever since she's been a little girl, she used to love dancing. She is very good at that, which she still does. She still loves dancing. Yeah, whatever it is, academically, she achieved a lot. Later on in life, even if not professionally, she may not have really taken on a profession till most recently when she took to mixology. But whatever it is that she did it with a lot of honesty and a lot of dedication and a lot of hard work she puts into it.
Very
It's just
good
that
to
sometimes she gets tired of whatever she. So once she reaches a certain should I say pinnacle of success in that particular field, then she sometimes gets tired of it and she sort of starts looking for new avenues to do. But the
Oh, she's like recorded.
Wait, there's more. There's more. I know it.
So I, being a single mother myself, I know the challenges involved in parenting as a single parent. Also, the fact that today's environment is so different. The children are exposed to so much more. There is so much more. There's YouTube, there's internet. We had no such challenges, to tell you honestly, as parents. But today's parents have all those challenges. But I'm really, really glad that Avantika is able to straddle that quite efficiently, if I may say so. They have their Avantika and Imara have their fights and they have their disagreements, in which I'm sort of smirking in the background, saying, "Wow, this is divine justice." Having been through a lot of such arguments myself with Avantika. But all in all, I think she's doing a wonderful job in being able to be firm at times when she needs to be and let go at times when she needs to be. She's being a good friend to Imara, because I think to keep a communication channel open in this day and age is really, really important. Because one needs to know, what are your kids watching on social media, who are their friends, what are they getting influenced by. So all in all, I think it's important to actually be a friend to your children, and which I think she does a really good job of.
She's lovely. There's a part, but before we get to that also, I want to understand that, she's absolutely right. Like, today's social media can be very scathing and it can have like a deep impact on kids. Like, growing up, we didn't have that. Half of the things, call it, we were not aware of, we didn't have access to. There are kids who are growing up really fast. They are having experiences which possibly you and I would have had in our late 20s, at least in our, like when we were starting adulthood, like late teens, which they are almost having at the age of 8, 9, 10 today, right? How do you, and given that there's been such a big life episode, which could have affected her deeply, you said that it affected you when it happened between your parents. What are the things that you did to make sure that Imara was not affected by all of this to that extent?
Well, I think that every single decision that I took was keeping her in mind first and foremost. So, was it, like my mother pointed out correctly, being a friend to her. I think that was most important. I may not be the greatest disciplinarian. I'm not the toughest mom with all the rules and I think I'm quite cool and easygoing. Maybe a little too cool, because sometimes she's bossing me around. Actually, most of the time she's bossing me around. But I think it was very clear that certain things have to be communicated very clearly to her. That she is the most important thing in everyone's life. She is loved deeply. None of these things that are going on between her parents have anything to do with her. This is all adult stuff and adults being silly and can't, manage their own stuff. But it's got nothing to do with her. She's not responsible for that in any way. Because a lot of kids grow up with that. I think for both Imran and I, we always knew that we were going to do our best when it came to her. And we were on the same page about that. So be it that she always had access to both parents, she spends equal amount of time with both her parents, with both families in fact. She's very, very close to both sides of the family. She knows she's loved by everybody.
Is it true that your mother actually, while we were planning this with Imara, I remember she telling me that I think it was the weekends and she stays with Imran during the weekends and Monday to Thursday.
She's with me, yeah. And then on Sunday morning, usually she comes back. Though we have never, of course, that is how it is largely. But not that it's like written in stone. Yeah. There are times when if we have to be flexible about it, we are. Even vacation-wise, she spends a lot of time with him. She goes on vacations with him, with me, with his family, with my family. So I think in that sense, she knows that she has not lost anybody. Yeah. Everybody's still there. Everybody loves her. She has access to anybody that she loves at any time. I think we have been conscientious to not let things that may have been going on between him and I in terms of divorce or this or that or lawyers, whatever the hell comes with divorce, for her really to be aware of it, to be exposed to it. She has never really been exposed to us being unkind to each other, or even when she was a kid, before we separated, it's not like she was exposed to us fighting or screaming or shouting, things like that a lot of kids sometimes in homes where parents are not separated, that they are exposed to that stuff, which is also equally damaging to them. Yeah. And so I feel like we were very, very, very united on that, to kind of make sure that she knows that she's loved, she's protected, and she's not losing anyone in her family that she loves. Everyone is around her. She has access to everybody at any point. Yeah, and that too also make sure that she knows that she, again, is not responsible in any way. She doesn't carry any of the guilt or shame, or I never wanted her to feel shameful, to feel ashamed of the fact that her parents are divorced, and I never wanted those things. So I think from the beginning, we really tried to kind of normalize it as much as we could.
But when you're trying to normalize it, the society can work in different ways, right? No matter how much we've made rapid strides to the moon, the social structure is never going to change. And when you go to school, I have, of course, it's been many years ago, but Arjun Kapoor said that Arjun and Anshula felt the worst going to school after their parents decided to move and stay separately. And he said that I used to feel so bad, and it was painful because everybody would question us, and it was a big deal because when you are a public figure, then you are talked about more, people know everything about you, there's nothing really personal anymore. How do you kind of maneuver through that? How do you protect her from that?
So I think I also went through the same thing. It was very hard to be in school when I was a kid. Yeah. But our reality was very different to these kids today. Also, I only say this with gratitude in my heart that my daughter comes from a place of a lot of privilege, maybe even more than me. The kind of environment she schools in is very different to the kind of schooling we had. It's much smaller, it's much more intimate. The kids are somehow, I think, exposed. There's a more normalcy to this idea today that parents can be different, families can look different. You can have two dads, you can have two mums. All this kind of stuff is kind of getting normalized today. Yeah. So I think from that perspective, I didn't feel that she had to endure as much as we did as kids in terms of.
But were you protective still? Did you take extra care to see if that's happening to her? Sometimes kids don't say it.
No. So she talks to me a lot, which is why I'm very lucky. And she would tell me, but she was also somehow never ashamed. That's why I don't know how. Maybe because I also was like, look at Nana Nani, look at Dada Dadi. They are not together, but they are still in our lives. They are still in your lives. They are still family. So understanding that, okay, this is how my family unit looks. It's just a bit different, but it's not in any way less loving. Yeah. I think that gave her some amount of strength and resilience, and she was not ashamed ever. I never saw that in her, luckily. That being said, because a lot of this happened during COVID, so for these kids, it was a lot worse because not only is all of this going on at home, but you're also stuck. There's a global pandemic. You're not being exposed to your peers in school. You're literally just on a laptop looking through a screen. So when schools finally did resume, I do think she had a little bit of a struggle. And then what I love about the kind of school environment she is in today is that the teachers immediately reached out to us, called us in, had a chat with us, like, how can we help? How can we make this better for her? And, which in our time, I mean, this was unheard of. And then, of course, both Imran and I are very clear that there is no shame in seeking help when you need it. And both of us felt that maybe for her to do, because for kids you can also see a play therapist. It's definitely not the way it is for adults. I mean, it's art-based and things like that, but they have their ways. Yeah. And they have their ways of getting through the child and letting the child express themselves. So for a while, she did also do that, and I do think that it helped a lot.
She was barely 5 around that time?
4 or 5, yeah. Yeah. 4.5, I want to say, when we separated. But it also took a long time. It also was, unfortunately, COVID hit in 2020. So the divorce proceedings also took a long period of time because everything kind of shut down and all of that happened. But that being said, today she's almost 11. Yes. And I see a resilience in her that is...
that has trickled down generations, maybe from your mom to you. Your mom is a lovely human being. Lovely. Like one day, I hope that I get both of you. Maybe when Imara grows up a little more, then maybe all 3 generations of women, strong women who've actually like lived it all. Because it's good to have experiences. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. I'm sure you also wouldn't. But at the end, what counts is the experiences you have and what you've learned out of it, right? Your mom had her own experiences and she made sure that she protected both of you and your brother, from everything with all her might. And she's given you the upbringing that you guys deserve and you guys have got. How do you look back at that? The struggle that your mom had to face, the kind of taboo that your mom had to face in saying divorce from the time that you had to say.
I can't even imagine how difficult it must have been for her. And at that time in particular. But again, I know she said this to me many, many times, that she has deep gratitude, because even she's saying, I had a family that supported me, I had a brother that supported me. She says to this day, in fact, and she's still very close with my father's family. Yeah. And with her, her in-laws. And she said that she was supported, but I have seen a grit and a determination. I have seen her go from a housewife to becoming quite a formidable force in the media business. And it was it was difficult also as a child, because she had to start working. And at that time, this is 92, 93, media in India, there was no hours that she worked. There was no, there were periods of time where she was gone for a long period of time. So it was tough for us as kids, because I think there was a sense of, oh shit, like, oh, neither parent is around, almost feeling like that. But she had no option, I know that. There was no way for her to support 2 children that she needed to do in a city. And she lived in Bombay. Her parents were in Delhi. She never went back to Delhi, which would have possibly been the easiest thing. But she was like, no, I like Bombay. I'm going to make a life here. So I think in moments of when I had, there are days where you're like, how am I going to survive this? And how am I going to do this? Will I be able to raise this child? Will I be able to just feel happy again, or feel okay again? Or knowing that I've watched her do that, and
gives you a lot of strength.
Yeah, definitely. Hope, strength. I also feel like I have been also surrounded by a lot of strong female figures in my life. My aunts, or even my ex-mother-in-law for that matter. So yeah, I was like, no, I got this. I can do this.
But you and Imran actually dated each other for a really, really long time before you actually got married.
Yeah, it was roughly, 9 years of dating and then 9 years of marriage. Somewhere, approximately that.
So the thing is that usually some relationships that don't survive, they crumble during that period only. You guys got together when he was not even an actor, right? And then he became an actor. You've seen his rise. You've seen the tough times that he's gone through as an actor as well, as a girlfriend, as a wife. Why did you take that decision of not getting married? Maybe like why such a long gap? Do you sometimes?
It wasn't a conscious thing, yeah. It wasn't. We were not thinking only about it. I think we were just living our lives. Till one day, I think his mom or somebody said, okay, now you're like 28, 29, maybe you should get married. Like, it was suggested like that. I don't even know, frankly, if we would have, if like it had not been suggested, if we would have even decided, okay, let's get married now. Seriously. Yeah. Because I think it was just not on our minds.
But you spent 9 years.
Yeah.
When you were dating.
Yeah, but we were kids.
Yeah.
You have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But after that,
yeah,
you almost get to know everything about each other,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
you know the ins and outs.
Yeah.
Where do you think trouble started, where you felt like, okay, this is getting a little out of hand?
I swear to you, I think this whole entire conversation is larger. I genuinely feel that the institution of marriage is problematic. So, I know I'm going a little off topic here, but I think to expect any two people to fulfill everything for each other is setting people up for failure. Yeah. Because you can't do that. Nobody can fulfill. In fact, you know, now the perspective that I have is that it's taken me a while to get here, but I don't think of my relationship as a failure. I feel like if you can manage to
of course it's not.
Make something work for 18 years in today's
of course it's
day and age, it's a success unto itself.
Absolutely. That's why I said it.
Yeah. But I think the actual separation or the decision to separate comes when you say that, look, we've spent our entire youth and most of our life that we had lived up to that point in this relationship, trying our best. I know we both gave it our best. That I know. That through thick and thin, we had a lot of rough patches up and down. I know that we really, really gave it everything we had. And I think the realization comes eventually that why do you, if it means that being separate would give you more happiness, and it has reached a point in your life where maybe you have grown up to be two people that are not as compatible as maybe what you were when you were 19 years old, right? Because you do grow up.
And you do change.
And you change.
With time.
I have gone through so many versions of myself. So why is it that because you decided to sign a legal document, that now you are responsible for dealing with every version of this human being for the rest of your life? You may not want to do it. You may decide someday that, look, I now want to live life for me, the way I choose, not constantly. And it goes both ways. It's not for one person, it's for both the people in the relationship. Yeah. That constantly having to make sure this human being is, I don't know what it is. You become one. It's like you become codependent and one unit, and you stop being two individuals who have their own thoughts and desires and wants and and there comes a day where you say, you know what, it's okay to choose me. And it's okay to live. Now if I've reached midlife, I'll be 40, if I've reached the age of 40 and I have half my life lived optimistically, then maybe it's time to live for myself. And it's okay to say that we had a beautiful relationship, we loved each other, we went through ups and downs, we have a child together that we're going to raise for the rest of our lives, but maybe we just don't want to be married and tied together anymore. And I think that's okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's okay to
each to their own, because circumstances are gonna be different for people. Everybody's journey is gonna be different. Yes, the pain that comes could feel similar. That okay, if I'm going through something and you're going through something and we're feeling like, I loved what you said on Janice's show, that it almost felt like death. And why do we not treat divorce like death? Because it is actually the death of a relationship, almost. It's not just one relationship that you were gonna almost like.
No, you lose a lot of people in your life, of course, and that does happen. And there's no way to sugarcoat it. And there's no way for me to make it sound better than it is. It's not. It's horrible. It's heartbreaking. It's gut-wrenching. You lose family. You lose friends. You lose the person that you loved and trusted the most in the world. And eventually, of course, it settles down and you become friends. But yes, that separating part is always painful, extremely painful. So I get that a lot of people don't choose that because they're afraid of the pain and they're afraid of the discomfort.
They're afraid to let their own family down. That's also
And that. I mean, there's so many things.
Yeah,
I
too
can't, there's too many.
too many reasons.
Too many. But I think that I come from a place of privilege and so much gratitude for this privilege that I have seen people survive divorces more often than not. I have seen them thrive. I have seen them get maybe happier in a sense in life. And so I think for me, I was like, okay, don't get me wrong, I was devastated. It took me a long time. Everything I knew was this relationship. I didn't know anything outside of it. I almost felt like I was learning to walk again, right? It feels like that, and it's very scary. But I have so much gratitude for that struggle and that pain and what I went through, because I know that I would have never realized what I'm about.
But can I ask you something? When you guys were taking the decision,
Yeah.
individually, I'm not talking about the collective decision. You said that you've gone through a lot of pain. Everybody goes through pain in such a situation. What were you the most scared of?
I think I'm still a little afraid of that even today. I guess loneliness, ending up alone. You lost your partner, your life partner. You've lost the life that you imagined, that you thought you were going to have. It's gone. So I was so afraid that I would not be able to look after myself. That being alone would feel like death or hell, or I don't know. I was so scared. I thought I wouldn't be able to do anything on my own. When I say that, I said it on Janice's show also. I thought I would die. And I've been through clinical depression where I have wanted to die. So it's not. So I didn't think that I would be sitting here today having this conversation with you 6 years later. My life would look the way it looks today. I could never have imagined it. That's why I tell people who are in the midst of it, in the thick of it, and they feel like, but I'm so scared, and what is going to happen, and how will I live? I'm like, you will. You can't see it today. But there will come a day where you'll be so grateful that had I not gone through any of that, had I not learned to really stand on my own 2 feet, today I know I can look after myself, I can look after my child. I'm good. I want a lot of people in my life. I love them. They're extremely important to me. But I don't need anybody. I'm certainly not a man. And I don't say it in a bad way.
Yeah.
So today, if I was to choose a partner, I know I'd be choosing them for the right reasons. Because I don't need you to come and make me whole and complete.
Yeah.
I've spent these 6 years making myself whole and complete on my own. But before that, there was no sense of identity. There was no sense that you're a separate person, that you are complete on your own, that you don't need this other human being.
Do you also feel that it came from a lot of media coverage?
So the thing is,
where your entire identity...
I feel like, at least in my case, luckily, and I'm again very grateful for that, is that my ex-husband was the type of person who wasn't very involved or invested in stardom, and it's not like he was
didn't care.
seeking it out.
He didn't care.
So it didn't come into our lives too much, but of course it does. Like, it would be naive of me to say that it didn't. Also, when I got exposed to it, I was very, very young. The first time around, when his first movie released, and we were already dating at that point. And I kind of suddenly, people were interested to know who I was. And it happened overnight, because before his first film, no one really knew who he was. Yeah. And then overnight, it changed. And that was, of course, a very difficult period for me, because I suddenly was reading comments about my hair and my shoes and my clothes and how I looked and my face. These are things I had never even thought to kind of even look at in that way. And a lot of course, judgment and hate, and it always was there. Plus, I think that this business comes with its elements that are toxic. It comes with a lot of things that are wonderful, but yes, there are elements that are toxic. The fact that this kind of prying eye into your life, and I'm not going to just say media, I think it comes even from people.
Yeah.
It's not just media.
Absolutely. Society.
It's society at large, right? Because as we were discussing a little while earlier, that famous people they somehow stop being human in other people's minds. Like it's like they're commodities, or I don't know what it is, or if you're a product, it feels like that almost. So they don't have the compassion for you that they would have for any other human being
Absolutely.
that they interact with.
And especially if you come from any area of privilege, you
Oh.
cannot have any issues.
Exactly. Like, like why the hell are you sad, and why the hell do you have depression? And yeah, totally.
But they don't realize that most of the privileged ones, I have realized this. See, I don't come from a place of financial privilege. The biggest privilege I've had is my mom and dad and my brother having a really happy life. But at this, it is the best thing. I don't think I would have been this person as good or as happy if I was born into privilege. Because I feel when I look around, when I look into the world of Bollywood also, real or real, all the privileged characters, privileged people are actually trying to hide their pain behind a smile all the time.
Absolutely. I mean, you could not have said it better.
It's so devastating.
It's like Jim Carrey said, it's a very famous quote of his where he says, I wish everybody could become rich and famous so they would know that that is not the answer.
Yes.
Right? And again, only gratitude for my privilege. So I don't want to come across as sounding like, oh, poor me. In fact, I don't think that way about myself at all. But just the reality of your life being somehow everybody's business. Particularly for my ex-husband, his work was being judged again, right? Your success, your failures, everything is public, and everyone has an opinion about it, and it's kind of hard to escape that, particularly when you were younger. Like again, I'm talking about like, mid-20s, and how much you don't even know anything at that point. You think you know everything.
And तब social media इतना था भी नहीं, मतलब
था भी नहीं, yeah. It wasn't as bad as today. I'm sure it's worse today.
It is the worst.
Yeah, I can't imagine, genuinely. Even that little exposure at that time, to be honest, these gossip websites and tabloids and fashion blogs, and it was limited in that space, but yet I didn't know what I was getting into. I was so naive that when all that judgment came, I do think it did.
Did any judgment in particular like bothered you the most? Do you remember?
I can't remember like say one thing like that, but it all kind of, and I would try to be like, I'm not going to let it get to me and all that. Like you think you're like,
trying to hide it again.
And all. Exactly. When actually it was because also I was much younger. I was carrying my own mental health issues at that time without even being fully aware of it. Yes. And all my childhood angst and all of that, I was still carrying it. Yeah. So I think I was anyway a little fragile. Yeah. And for some reason, I've always had a very negative sense of self, at that age in particular, very negative inner voice, very self-critical, extremely at that age. So I think it became one on top of the other, and I think it did affect me very, very deeply. It did, yeah, at that time.
There's an interview of your father where I think in an interview he said that even during, because you spoke about the trying times, an actor, even Shah Rukh Khan is not spared, right? Yeah. I have seen, there was this interview that I did with Shah Rukh sir, and he said that tab ye ad labs tha. Cinepolis nahi tha, ye Fun Republic wala. Yeah. So he said Chak De had released. It was for a print interview that I was doing for DNA. He said Chak De had released. Today people tell me, why are you doing commercial movies? Your movies are not doing numbers. And then this is during that entire phase when his movies were not doing 500 crores. Right. So he said I came out from YRF and Chak De had released, and I could see nobody at the theaters. So he felt like so bad because today people talk about Chak De, right? He said after Chak De released, there was a big copy, either of a newspaper, magazine, I don't remember exactly what, where nothing was written on the front page. It was just his photo and it said finished.
Finished, yeah.
It is so weird that any Friday can change your luck. It's so inconsistent.
That's how it was. It was
get
like,
to you as a wife.
Yes, absolutely. And like I was telling you, right, we had been together for so many years. I feel I had no separation. It didn't feel like it was happening to him. It almost felt like it was happening to the both of us, which is not true. It was actually him who was going through it. But yes, it was very hard for me. And I would get very affected, and I was extremely protective of him. So negative reviews, or some journalist where you can make out there's a vendetta or a negative piece and all, it used to really bother me. And I used to be like, oh, I want to get this person, like, I used to feel, now, realizing a decade later, more than a decade later, I'm like, none of it really mattered. But at that time it was so overwhelming. And then it takes a toll on you emotionally. It takes a huge toll on you. And it kind of worsened. So for me, I think it made me worse. All of this eventually led to the clinical depression, is what I feel, is that when I really hit rock bottom.
But at that point, when he was also going through that, he's a very close person. Like, his emotions are not really, at least for us, for close people, of course, he would be completely himself. Like you said, I've never seen him very attached to the idea of stardom. But I'm pretty sure that as any normal human being, success and failure would affect him as much.
I'm sure. I can't speak for him, and I wouldn't like to. But it would affect anybody. I mean, I'm telling you, I can't imagine anyone not suffering. I'm talking about even the most successful people out there.
Absolutely. No, that's what I'm saying, because you were there with him through and through.
No, I did, but I don't want to speak for him, and I don't want to talk about this too much, because then I feel like, I don't want it to feel like I'm talking on his behalf, or I'm talking about his experiences. I know that it was difficult. There's no question about it. It was difficult. As someone who loves someone who's going through that, it was so difficult.
For you to see it also. When you guys decided, be honest, was it at all your decision in it, or?
I don't know if I should answer this.
No, I want you to answer this.
I would have found it very, very difficult to walk away and to say, this is it. Because of the kind of human being I am. I'm a highly emotional person. Also, highly emotional person. Also, for me, there was this almost like, because my parents' marriage had not worked, I felt almost like this pressure to, I have to make mine work. You know what I'm trying to say?
Coming to that.
Yeah, like this, what was my reality as a child cannot be Imara's.
Yes,
The only thing I couldn't see at that point is that it won't be, even if we separate, our realities are not the same.
Yes.
Because she's in an entirely different experience, a setup, family. I mean, it's completely different. But that fear was too deep and too intense to have walked away.
You know why I asked you this? Because during the course of the conversation, I wouldn't have pushed you, I never would. But during the course of the conversation, at one point you said that it took me years to get and accept the fact that this has happened. For a person who's already prepared, if it would have been a collective decision, you are somewhere mentally prepared, right? So it wouldn't take you as much time, is what I feel. Like, when you know that this is going to be the reality of it, you don't feel so much of pain. Like, it's very weird. I will not take the name, but an actor who told me, like, one of his parents was suffering, and one of his parents had a sudden, like, passed away suddenly. Both of them passed away. But when the person who was suffering, although he was closer, he could somehow accept the reality.
Because there was some prepared.
That he was prepared for.
Yeah.
And this was unprepared. So that happens, that hits you, right?
Yeah.
How did you deal with that in the beginning?
I mean, it was very hard. It's the worst thing that I've had to go through. You feel like the ground is taken out from under your feet. You feel like, you just don't know anything anymore. You feel like that. But like I said, I'm very, very blessed, because I think I had so many people in my corner. Every day, every single day, my friends, my family, of course. My friends are very, very close to me. We have a very tight-knit group, and they are like my army, I call them. My extended family. Everyone just, I don't know, they held me together till I could hold myself together.
Did you try to hide your pain from them? Did you also live in that kind of a, which you rightly said that you come from a broken family and you wanted to make it work and there was a constant pressure. Plus, you are more popular. Unfortunately, both of you were more popular and in tabloids and in news more than your mom and dad, right? So there was added societal pressure. Plus, you were not just another couple, you were looked at as this really evergreen, oh my God, they make us feel that we should be in love kind of a couple. That adds pressure, whether we like it or not, from people you don't even know. Did you feel any of that?
I don't remember feeling external pressure, like being worried about what people will think. Or I didn't care about that. I cared about protecting Imara. So that was important to me, that how we handle ourselves publicly and how we handle our affairs publicly is very important because of how it would affect my kid tomorrow. So that, I think we both were, again, very much on the same page that she has to be protected at any
Because
cost.
you guys are co-parenting anyway. It's
We're
not single.
co-parenting anyway. And I mean, he's a very hands-on, wonderful father.
Yeah.
And they have a very close, intimate relationship. So, you know, in that sense, I think for a long time, I didn't know what was going on. I think, like, it takes time. Sometimes you're just like, you just sit and stare out the window. Like, it was literally days of that. But then I think slowly I saw that I've seen my mother pull her life together. My ex-mother-in-law also, for that matter. And again, like I said, various women, my mom's friends, I have so many, my aunts, there's so many people I can name. And I just was like, you know what? This is not my story. I think somewhere that reality hit me. This is not my
chapter.
story.
That's
this
about
is
it.
one chapter. And now I get to write my own story, which I don't think I ever had that chance in my life. So slowly, I found, well, I was already seeing a therapist even before that because of my mental health stuff. So I continued the therapy because through that it was very important. I found my spiritual practice at that time, which was the Buddhist practice of chanting Namyo Renge Kyo, which really empowered me. And it can be different for different people. You can be anxious, but mine was like affecting my life and functioning.
How did your parents especially, hold you together? I mean, you spoke about your ex-mother-in-law. She's also been through that.
Actually, my ex-mother-in-law, I will give her a lot of credit because she's a therapist herself, right? And when I was, the clinical depression, when it hit me, I didn't know I'm clinically depressed. I just came home one day and I was bawling and I was like, I feel hopeless and I feel like I'm never going to get better and nothing is worth it and I'm not worth it. And she was sitting with me. And in under 2 minutes, she looked at me and she said, Avantika, this is clinical depression. Now you have to, excuse my French, kick it in the balls. So she recognized it so in under 30 seconds to be diagnosed. You know how that is a relief for someone to tell you, look, this is what's wrong with you.
Because she knew it.
She could see it. She was watching it for a while, I'm sure. And she literally helped me with a treatment plan. She's like, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. So just having that person there to hold you through the darkest time of your life. I mean, I am forever grateful to her. I will never, ever be able to thank her enough for what she did for me at that time. And it was life-saving. Because for a few days, my mind had broken to the point of having suicidal thoughts and things like that, which does happen. It's more common than people like to admit. Luckily, the only good thing about me at this point is that I didn't hide anything. I was catching everyone and telling them, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. This is going on.
That outlet needs to happen.
Yeah, and I told my ex-mom-in-law also that, I'm getting these thoughts. And she said, don't worry, I'm here. I'm watching you. If I ever feel it's problematic, I will step in. But I just want to tell you that usually when you're so vocal about it, it's a good thing because you're asking for help. The minute you receive it, you'll calm down, It's people who actually don't talk about it, who don't express. They are the ones who are more at risk in terms of actually ending up self-harming and things like that. So, but I was so afraid and I didn't want to do any of those things. I'm like, no, but I don't want to self-harm. I want to get okay. That's what I want. That was the deepest desire. And my daughter was want to say about 1.5 at this point. Yeah. No, a little older, maybe 2. But she was small. So I was like, for her sake, I have to get better. So even at that time, I had a lot of support. There was no stigma. There was nobody in my life who came forward and didn't help me.
Absolutely.
From my friends to my parents to my sibling to, at that time, my mother-in-law. I mean, they all rallied behind me. And they were like, don't worry. Literally down to the day, I would be like, okay, what all do I need to? I have to start swimming. I have to do pottery. I have to do... It was like... It became like a...
You know, when I saw that video of you, I saw that first video that you put out after many, many days, many weeks, many months, about the tasting, the alcohol tasting that you were doing.
Yeah.
You know, my heart sank. I knew that I will not message you for a conversation till I feel that you are ready to talk. And genuinely, like, I cannot do that to somebody who I know is already in a lot of pain. And then again, because I know how the world is, I felt you were also trying to hide your pain behind a smile, which you were trying to, and you were failing miserably. Because of course I could see it.
Yeah,
and
that was very early.
And great that you
Yeah,
failed, because
yeah.
people also need to understand that at the end of the day, public figures are also human beings.
Absolutely.
Right? Everybody goes through the same things. I want to know that, do you feel like when there is a separation, and you spoke about your mum-in-law, has your equation with her changed in any form? Has it remained the same?
Unfortunately, it's not the same. It can't be. But what my feelings towards her are the same. And she is the best grandmother to my daughter, and Imara is very, very close with her. And I'm also very grateful for how she cares and loves for Imara, and is watching her and her well-being. And yeah, I have only gratitude for that. But unfortunately, that's the reality. It just doesn't stay the same. It can't. Yeah. At least not yet. Maybe 10 more years from now, or maybe more, or 20 years from now at Imara's wedding, things might be different. You know, today I see my parents, they are different.
But if they need you, you would be there.
I would think so. Yes, I would. I would. Again, it's difficult to answer, but I think so, yes.
You know, you already dealt with a lot of abandonment issues because of what you saw in your childhood.
Yeah.
Anybody who goes through, any child especially who goes through those kind of emotional damage, it's very difficult for them to build trust in anybody, because they've seen broken relationships. I've heard so many people who come and say that kids who come from broken relationships find it doubly difficult to trust somebody and fall in love. Yeah. You did that, right? Yeah. And then you realize that it didn't work out. Yeah. Do you feel more scared to fall in love today?
No, I don't. Because I think I've understood, my spiritual journey has been so strong that I've understood the duality of life, right?
True.
Love is pain, sorrow and joy. So all the two sides to the same coin.
Same coin. Yes, I was going to say the same.
Yeah, so
I believe that too.
So, in my opinion, I'm a firm believer in love. The power of love, the force of love. What is going to save the world? What I'm trying to say is what keeps us human beings alive and able to move on and through, and all of us are suffering. There's not one person I know that can say they don't suffer in some way or the other. Yeah. So what gets us through is love. That I'm sure of. So the love doesn't scare me. And I understand that pain comes with love. It goes hand in hand. It's just that, so I'm not going to let the fear of pain stop me from experiencing love. That I'm clear about. That being said, yes, I think today because I'm much older, my idea of a relationship may have changed and evolved, and I think
also your expectations from maybe a
expectations from a relationship. I think today I'm not looking for someone to come and fulfill me or to complete my life or to give me happiness. I'm not looking for those things. I found a way to do that for myself. If I do end up with somebody, it'll be someone who's truly, genuinely a partner who's coming to add to my life.
And who wants to be with you.
And who wants to genuinely be with me for
right
who
reasons.
I am. Yeah. So, yes, I do have those maybe standards today or boundaries today. So, but I'm not fearful, no.
But do you feel generally women find it more difficult to fall in love or move on after a broken relationship.
Oh, definitely. Because there is this certain women are from, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Men and women are different.
Yeah.
There is a fundamental, almost like a, you get a little disillusion maybe with the idea of love, with the concept of men in general, with then taking on the responsibility of looking after another man. You're like, I don't know if I have it in me to again invest, because that is there. Men do like to be looked after
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
catered to.
Absolutely.
And so today, yes, I think there is a hesitation even in me to be like, if I'm going to do that, it better be worth it. So somebody really has to bring something to the table that, I feel like, okay, I'm willing to do that. But I'm not willing to settle. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm so afraid of being alone, so I'll just be in a relationship because it's better than being alone. That is not my reality. But yes, I do understand women who've been traumatized. People have been traumatized. And they choose never to go for it again.
Yeah, some people break up and some people can't even break up despite trauma. I've seen that, like,
that
oh my
also,
God.
to be able to leave a relationship, how difficult is that to begin with?
Yeah.
So hard.
I've seen it in my own family, one of my cousin brother.
Yeah, it's like you see it all around you. When you start really
No,
looking.
we stand with my cousin brother's wife. So
okay,
we are
okay.
like,
Okay.
we are complete. It's like almost like Darlings, like when the movie released. Not exactly Darlings, but when mom watched it with me in Bombay, my mom looked at me like, hey,
This is that.
this is our family.
See, that's what I'm
member.
saying. So that is trauma, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm very blessed. I didn't have to experience trauma at that level.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I completely understand someone that has been so traumatized that they're like, I don't ever want to go there again. So I think maybe for me that was not my experience. Also, yeah, just the understanding that I cannot give up on love. That I can't do.
You shouldn't. Nobody should.
Yeah.
It's experiences, Unfortunately, some experiences work out, some experiences don't. But there's this beautiful thing that Nina ji had actually once said, that just because she said that I never poisoned Masaba with anything about her father. Yeah. Because I may not have had great experience, or I may have some kind of resentment, but just because I have had that kind of episode in life with that person doesn't mean that I hate him. Absolutely. Because I have had shared moments which has been only love, and I cannot disregard that. You also have kept that notion alive. Like, your mother, I think, did that with you.
Yes.
Where even if you had anger issues, I know that she was never the one who would have wanted you to have any kind of anger issues towards your father, right? How important was it for you to have that kind of a setting, even if you're single parenting?
Extremely important, because I know as a young child having to go through life without having a close, intimate relationship with my father, in those growing up years in particular. I knew the price I paid for that. There is no way I would want that for my child. So I was very clear from the offset that I want her to have a very beautiful relationship with her father. And I cannot negatively impact that in any way, because then I'm doing damage to her. We get very caught up in our own resentments and our own things and that, and then like, oh, you want to do it to hurt the other person or whatever your intention may be at that time. And you feel like, because that's where it comes from. If you're going to poison your child, it's going to be because you are hurt and you are bitter and you're kind of... Yeah. And I was very clear that my emotions cannot creep into her. And she cannot start holding those, because they are not hers. They are mine. I have ownership. They are my responsibility. And what will, if tomorrow she grows up not liking her own dad, for instance, just an example, it's going to damage her only. Yeah. Who is it going to damage? Her. She is going to grow up with a very...
again, emotional damage.
Emotional damage. So I knew from the offset that that is not what I want for her. So there was never a question about that in my mind. I was always very clear. Even right in the beginning, it's not like there was ever a discussion of saying no to joint custody or saying no to 50-50 spending 50% of her time with each parent. There was never a question. This was never it was always yes, because it is as important for her.
But can I ask you something? As a woman, do you still credit Imran for the fact that he also wanted 50% of time. I've seen many, like the person I'm talking about, my cousin brother doesn't care about his own child. It's so weird. Like unfortunately, I'm not going to generalize and say all men are like that, but I've seen men like that, so I'm just asking that question. But he's not been that person. Do you credit him for that?
Absolutely. There's no question about it. I have utmost respect for the father that he is. And utmost respect for how involved and invested he is in Imara and how much he loves her and how he expresses his love for her. Absolutely. I think that a lot of being able to let go of my own issues and anger and resentment and whatever I may have been carrying vis-a-vis our relationship, I think I could let go for this reason. So I was like, this is the most important thing. If you can maintain this and you can be a wonderful father, then that's all that mattered at that point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a part in my interview where you said, in Janice's interview actually, there was a part where you said that Imara once came to you when she was really young that, am I going to have a new mama?
Yeah, that was right in the beginning.
Yeah. And in my interview right now, just a few minutes ago, you said that today at least there is a concept of having two mothers, two fathers, and it's okay, right? Does she understand that there is another person in Imran's life? Has he, like, is she okay with the idea of having somebody in your life? Or
I'd rather talk about my life.
yeah,
I don't want to get into it.
I didn't mean it in that way. I mean, like, is she okay with the idea of having like another person in the
when
parents'
she was
lives?
very little, right, this question was literally when we just very much had just told her that we're planning, we're not going to be married anymore and we're going to get a divorce. And that was her first thing. Oh, what does that mean? Does that mean that now I'm going to lose my parents? Right? That is the idea, that am I going to get a new mama means am I going to lose my parents? She was a baby. Luckily, I had enough examples in my own family to be like, no, because my father is seeing somebody else. So I was like, Nanu has this person in his life, but my mama is still my mama, no? Nobody can be Nani.
Yeah, and Nanu is also Nanu.
And Nanu is Nanu, correct. Yeah. So I'm like, your parents are your parents, whatever it may be. That being said, I do think it is a little difficult for them to be accepting of maybe somebody else in either parent's life, because naturally, it's this, when you're a child, everything, you want that utopian idea, no? You want happy family and happy mama, papa. Everyone wants that. So when that shatters, it's heartbreaking. So of course, that means if there's other people, then it's very real that this happy family unit cannot exist anymore in that traditional sense. So it certainly is hard for her. Till today, sometimes we joke and I'd be like, baby, now should I get a boyfriend? And she'll be like, what, really? Why? Like, isn't it nice like this? Great, just the two of us. So, but I also know that she's growing up now. So there is an understanding, of course, that maybe her parents will seek out other partners and not live alone for the rest of their lives and maybe try and find companionship.
You know,
but it's not easy for her.
It is so weird. Only my friends know this. Nobody in the world knows this. So I was writing a particular story. Someday, I'm not a scriptwriter, but I love relationship stories. The whole idea was about this mother who, in her 50s, now everybody's going to copy and write it better than me. That's a different story. So I'm saying a mother in her 50s, like our mother especially, suppose. So she walks out of a marriage, but there's no, it's not about love, it's not about the things. She just feels like there's a lack of respect. Like we take our people for granted, and she walks out, and then she eventually, a few years later when she finds somebody, so the kids are not being able to like acclimatize to the whole idea that how can my mother do this, and you know, they're judging, whatever. The whole end point of it is. No problem.
Sorry, my nanny is calling me.
No problem. This is done almost.
No, just tell me. Yes.
So the whole end point, because I believe in, like, I'm a very mushy person in my head. The whole end point would be the child who opposed doing the kanyadan of the mother. That is the last scene that I've always told my friends that it has to be the last scene. You know, I've said it, I'm only crying. I'm so stupid. Like, I've never seen it in my life, but I just feel like it's such a human story of acceptance and all of that. I hope when you say this to me, the reason I said this is not because of me. I hope that happens to you. See, I hope that happens, yeah, someday. Who knows? It will be the most
Who
priceless
knows? Yeah,
moment.
I thought. See, the thing is, I doubt I'll get married again. That I'm telling you. My mother's only told me two things. Said, have your boyfriends, have fun, go travel the world, have a companion, do everything. Don't get married again. And don't let a man move into your house. These are two things she told me. Yeah, so marriage seems like a stretch. I don't know if I'd ever get married again and sign a legal document. I said it on Janice's show that trauma of just going to the court, that is enough to say that I'm not going to sign a legal document.
Did it affect you?
Yeah, it's a very bizarre experience. It would affect anybody. Because it's a very inhumane kind of experience. I can't explain, like what we said on Janice's show, where they shout your name like you're at a railway station and there's so many people, and then it's all very cut and dry, and you're like, oh, I'm ending my marriage, and then they send you to some counselor who also asks you some strange questions. I don't know, that whole experience was very odd. So I was like, I don't think I can go through that again. So I don't think I'll get married again. I don't think I'll sign on any document. But would I like to have a partner? I hope. Someday, sure, yes. I'm very open to it.
Would you like to find love?
Love, yes.
Yeah.
I'm very open to it. But it has to be, like I said, it has to fulfill the right requirements.
But because of your daughter, do you guys also speak to each other? Do you guys have any conversation? Do you think that there can be a point where in time, maybe in life, you would get to be friends again?
I would hope. But we don't. Not really. It's civil. It's cordial. But friends is a very strong term. We are not there yet.
Yeah.
Maybe
Hopefully.
with time.
Someday.
Maybe with
Someday with maturity, with life.
Yeah.
But before we go, because of the
Yes.
lovely conversation,
Oh, thank you.
I have a small gift for you, which we give to all our guests.
Wow.
I love Korean skincare. So I'm
You
gonna-
are giving me the best gift ever.
I love skincare.
Listen, skincare is like, and Korean skincare, what are you talking about? Listen,
Yes.
I'll come on any podcast you want me to have.
That. So there's a lot, so you can share with people also.
I'm not sharing with anybody. Wow, oh my God. Thank you so much.
Have you seen those videos of those overnight collagen masks?
Yes.
Like the one where you wear and next day.
Oh my God, you don't understand. Like, I was literally, you're going to think I'm crazy, but I was literally just like, I have to get some of this overnight Korean stuff. And there was and you have given, I should ask the universe for something else also.
Please ask, please. This is for you from Wildglow.
Thank you, Wildglow, and thank you, Nayandeep.
Wildglow Korean Skincare by Rohit Khemka is India's futuristic skincare brand. Wildglow aims at actually bridging the geographical distance between India and South Korea. Wildglow's viral products, whether it's the Bio Collagen Overnight Face Mask or the Kojic Acid and Turmeric Cleansing Pads, are a huge hit, and they work with the very first use. They give you glass-like skin like no other. Look at my skin, you will know.
This is the most perfect.
Yeah, I'm
can't
so
tell how
happy.
excited I am.
I'm so happy. But I have to tell you, before you go, I want to ask you, what are the things that you do for your skin? Like, have you ever tried any of those viral Korean
No,
things?
please tell me, I need advice on this stuff. Okay.
So basically what you need to do, open it, I'll show you something.
okay.
So this yellow thing, which
Yes.
is the Kojic Acid and Turmeric
Ooh,
pads.
kojic acid and turmeric. Oh my God, these pads are supposed to be too good.
Yes. I have
just
used
saw
it before coming.
And apparently, like your fine lines, your pigmentation.
Everything goes. And it cleans the entire dirt. So you don't need to use face wash to that extent. But you have to keep it on your face. You don't have to wash it, okay? So you keep it, and there's an side which is exfoliating and the side which is
So
cleansing.
रात को before bedtime, this is
You can
what
remove
do.
makeup with this.
You can remove makeup with
Yeah,
this?
you can remove everything with this, okay? And in the morning also you can do it once. I do it twice in a day. Then what you do is pimple patches, so you know.
Pimple
This
patches is great.
There's a gua sha niche.
There's a gouache. Oh my God. Listen.
I love it. I love the fact that...
You don't understand. I was just mentally berating myself today when I was getting ready to come here, being like, get your skincare in order, get your makeup in order, you need a gua sha, you getting fine lines. I literally just yelled at myself while getting ready to come here. And you were giving me a gua sha.
I think it's
I'm telling you,
manifestation.
it's manifestation hard. I should manifest something else also.
Please do.
Maybe some
Please do.
handsome hunk.
You know, recently there's a video of me going viral when I was doing an interview with Tripti for Galata. And this is after Animal. And I asked her, are you doing the film with Prabhas, which is Spirit, Sandeep Reddy Vangas. She said, no, it's not true. I said, are you sure? She's like, yeah, these are fake news. It's not happening. It will not happen. I said, don't say that. Yeah, let's manifest it. Yeah. And it got like that.
I read something today only about
and
it.
And the whole video is going viral now. Everybody's sending it to me. I sent it to Tripti.
Chal,
but
theek hai.
This you have to wear in the night.
Okay.
And sleep over.
Lovely.
So yesterday night only I did this actually. I'll show you the photo. तो कुछ नहीं है, 2 parts से ऐसे लगा के सो जाओ. अपने आप transparent हो जाएगा. थोड़ा सा पहले उलझन दूंगा, but सो जाना बस.
मैं सो जाऊंगी. Don't worry.
हाँ.
Anything to get the Korean glow.
अरे absolutely. But do you do anything else for your skin? Anything?
I am very bad. I am so bad at all this. Now I do use, so I have one dear friend of mine who has this brilliant range of beauty products, Australian products called Subtle Energies. He doesn't retail in India. I've been after him to retail in India. So ever so often when he visits me, he'll come with a little care package. He'll leave me some products. He'll be like, use these. So that's my extent. And I'll put sunscreen and maybe a moisturizer.
No, whenever you need anything, because so I love this brand. This has become like a family brand because it's by somebody who's like a brother. Rohit Khemka is like a brother to me. And of course, he's also the sponsor for my shows, and also I love skincare. I went to Korea last December. My skin has transformed like anything.
Really?
I've become a skinfluencer.
You are glowing.
Thank you.
Your skin really glows.
Thank you.
The light reflects off of it.
That should, yeah, she's iklota,
That's
she's बहुत अच्छा है.
great.
But whenever you need anything,
Okay, great.
definitely sending more.
Yeah.
You please let me know when it's over. I'll send one more package. Plus, there are new products which hopefully will come now.
Yeah, this is the most exciting. I'm telling you, I'm coming for anything. You call me.
Thank you. But thank you so much for this lovely, heartfelt chat. You know, I was also in a dilemma because these are conversations that can go any way and anywhere. And even if we don't intend to, it can become something else, right, without anybody's ill intention. And what I mean for you has always been with good intent, and I didn't want it to be a difficult conversation for you, but a rather easy, comfortable conversation. And I'm happy that you're smiling at the end of it, because I said it.
You did. You gave me, I want to thank you for the wonderful A, conversation, B, the message from Imara and my mum. These are two things that have touched my heart in ways that I cannot even begin to describe to you. Because both are not the most vocal in terms of letting me know this.
I know, but thanks to Alpa.
Yeah, thank you, Alpa auntie. She's like, oh no, you're calling me auntie. Sorry, thank you, Alpa. She don't like me saying auntie. And that has been the biggest gift. So thank you so much. It's been wonderful.
जाते जाते एक और मैसेज है. देखिए, सरप्राइज जब हो ही रहा है तो अच्छे से हो. हाँ, एक मैसेज और है आपके लिए. Please, it's a part to that which.
Yes.
And as a mother, I think one of the things that have made me most proud of her and is the fact that after her separation, she really, I mean, she went through a tough time, which everybody does emotionally and otherwise, and considering her mental health issues anyway. But she fought that. She got out of it. And actually, Avantika, I'm so proud of you that you did it with so much dignity. You did it with honesty. You did it without getting bitter. I mean, you just took. I think you just focused on yourself. You focused on getting better yourself, and I think you did a wonderful job of that. So really proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
This should be, I wanted it to be in the ending, because to the fighter in you, and to the lover in you, and to the mother in you, and to the daughter in you, a huge salute. And thank you for doing this.
Thank you.